Hey, once forgiven, now free. No reason for us to challenge each other. We can simply ask each other questions and have a discussion. Wouldn't that be much more pleasant? Let me preface my response by saying I'm responding only because you asked for an answer. My intention is not to disabuse you of your beliefs or try to convert your worldview, just to give you the answers you requested. In return for this courtesy, I'll thank you not to attempt to convert me. Dawkins is discussing cranes and skyhooks in this section of his book. A crane is an answer to a question that actually explains, whereas a skyhook is an answer that does not. For example, set a cold glass of juice out on a table and leave it there for a half hour. When you return, you'll find the outside of the glass beaded with water droplets and a wet ring on the table around the base of the glass. Now, why is that? What if I say the film of water, which seems to have come out of nowhere, is the result of magic water pixies? While this is certainly an answer, it doesn't explain anything. All I've done is invent an answer that creates an even bigger question than where did the water come from? What are these pixies? Where did they come from? And how the heck did they make water appear on my glass? But if instead I say that the cold fruit juice warms up by absorbing heat out of the air, and the air contains water vapor, which comes from other sources of moisture in the house, and as the air cools, so does the water vapor, and the loss of energy causes the vapor to settle on the glass and collect into droplets in a process we call condensation, then I actually have explained. The magic pixies answer is a skyhook, whereas the condensation answer is a crane. The crane explains the process, while the skyhook does not. Further, the reason we have answers that explain things is because we realized we didn't know what caused a certain phenomenon to happen, and we investigated to find the answer. If I give you a skyhook answer, you now have an answer, and therefore there's no reason for you to investigate, even though the skyhook hasn't really answered your question. Which brings us back to your question, why does Dawkins insist that the first cause, if there is one, must be simple? It's because every example we have in the universe of the organization of matter into highly complex forms in nature is as the result of basic laws of nature operating from a very simple beginning. Therefore, if one discovers a thing or a phenomenon in the natural world that seems complex, like, say, a formation of crystals or the orbital dynamics of a solar system, the processes that make that thing or drive that phenomenon are basic natural laws operating on energy and matter. So if we're going to posit a first cause for the universe, it necessarily must be something simple, something that can be explained by natural laws acting on matter and energy. Hang on, let me finish. If we invoke something complex, we've just resorted to a skyhook. If I say the universe was created by magic star pixies, we have the exact same problem we had with the water glass. I haven't actually explained anything. And by resorting to a non-explanatory answer, I've taken away your need to investigate. I think it's far better to be honest and say, I don't know. At least then it's clear we actually have to figure it out. By invoking a complex supernatural being to create the universe, you've now put yourself in the position of having to explain where that being came from. And at present, the only process we know of which creates intelligent beings is evolution. Meaning this God you posit had to be the product of some sort of evolution, or some other natural forces acting on matter and energy over time. By invoking God, now, in addition to needing to explain how he created the universe, you also need to explain how it is he came into being. In essence, in trying to explain something complex, you've invoked something even more complex, and left the first question unanswered to boot. If we're going to argue that something as complex as an infinite being needs no creator, then why do we need to invoke such a being to explain the universe? The universe is less complex than an infinite being. And if an infinite being needs no creator, why does the universe need one? The origin of the universe is too important a question to just invent skyhooks for. We need a crane to lift our understanding to the dizzying height necessary to comprehend how our universe came to be the way it is. And as a final note, and I add this because I sense you may have a misconception of Big Bang cosmology, please be aware that the Big Bang event is not considered to be the moment the universe was created. It only marks the transition of the universe from one state to another, from an ultra-compact singularity to a rapidly expanding region of space-time. Big Bang cosmology doesn't speculate on how long the universe existed as a singularity, or if it was or was not in some other form before it became a singularity. Also, since time is part of the fabric of space, and this has been proven by experiments to measure time dilation here on Earth, it is unlikely that time as we understand it existed when the universe was a singularity. Given that, it's possible the universe really has no cause, because there is simply no such period as before space-time. Without time, you can have no before, and the rules of cause and effect would therefore not hold. Anyway, in any event, if you want to believe a deity created the universe, that's fine. There's no evidence for such a belief, but if it's an article of faith for you, you don't need evidence. For my part, my worldview is evidentiary, and I'm quite content to say, I don't know, and leave it at that. I hope I answered your question to your satisfaction. Please feel free to clarify if I misunderstood what you were asking for.